I left everything behind this time. Burned my life to the ground, started again. Gave away all my furniture and her furniture. Threw out all of the things we'd collected to fill our closets. This time, I'm gonna do it right. He and I are building a home. One for just the two of us. But even before the movers are done, disappointment becomes our house guest. He tells me it looks like they stained the couch when they were bringing it in. I scope the damages and I know immediately that these sooty black licks are no mud blotch or scrape not left by work boots, but fire, not so much a stain as a warning, and I've seen this before. I waste no time beginning the now ritual cleanup, and I can almost pretend that it never happened. But the placation only lasts until morning, when I enter the kitchen to find him disassembling a pillar made of every dish he owns. He says if you're gonna unpack things, you could at least put them away. I tell him I didn't touch them. He rolls his eyes and says, well, then I guess we're being haunted. I tell him ghosts don't exist. He says he didn't sleep well. Says he heard humming all night, that I must have left the radio on, and rather than contest him, I just unplug it and hope for peace. But over the weeks, his eyes sink deeper into his face, his yawns a chorus. When it's not humming, it's popping. When it's not popping, it's hissing. He says he thinks we're being haunted. I tell him ghosts don't exist. He's forgetting things. Keeps leaving the oven on, keeps finding his books in strange places, pages folded, books he swears he hasn't read yet. And I've seen this before, but all I can tell him is, I think you're just tired. He says that's easy for you to say. So I stay awake with him, hum him lullabies so he can finally rest. He says he thinks we're being haunted. I tell him ghosts don't exist. When he eventually nods off, I can hear it now, the humming, the popping. I make my way to the kitchen. I follow her calls down the hallway, see her face in every frame on these walls, and I remember the night I pulled denial from those couch cushions, learned to pretend I hadn't noticed she lived not in residence nor in relic, but in what was always her true home. And when I make it to the kitchen, I see the oven set ablaze, broiler turned all the way up, and I don't wake him. And I don't leave. I just settle into that couch and watch the flames dance through the doorway, because I know that this inferno won't end in death. We will live here, skins melting off our bones until we don't recognize each other anymore. But he will know me when I tell him, I think we're being haunted. I've seen things, and I've seen them before.